We are live. We are streaming. We are back. Um, been a busy week. Welcome back. We're happy you're here. We're streaming Mr. Run and Jump. I'm Matt from Graphite Lab. Say hello, John.
Hi. I'm John. I'm also from Graphite Lab.
It's been a busy week, John. Tell me, let's reflect for a moment. Can you believe it's been a week already? Tell me where we were this time. Well, I guess this time we were still in St. Louis last week, but gosh, it seems like forever ago we were jet setting out to sunny Seattle to check out PAX.
Yeah, it's true. The rumors are true. Yeah, last weekend was while everyone's celebrating the Labor Day weekend, we were off in the Pacific Northwest, beautiful Washington State,
Mm-hmm.
home of Tillamook cheese and moose. A
Moose.
moose. Yeah.
What do you? Oh, home of just moose. That's the end of that sentence. Home of moose. It's like home of moose. It's like the Borg. Home of moose. They all communicate together telepathically.
That's right.
Uh,
So we were in Moose City, Washington, aka as the locals call it, Seattle.
that's right.
Um, so we were, yeah, we were at the old Penny Arcade Expo. Guests of Gabe and Tycho,
That's right.
or rather, I guess Atari were guests of Gabe and Tycho, and then we were tagging along as well.
Right.
But yeah, man. So yeah, I guess Atari was there kind of all week. I forget what hall were they?
So we were
Or
in
what
Summit.
Summit? That's
Yeah.
right.
So they're like Arch and Summit, I think, were the two. We were in Summit, booth 3005, and yeah, it was great. We had Mr. Run and Jump there. We had hosting a fiercely competitive speed run competition. So that was fun to see. And then we had Quamp 2, which is another game that Graphite is behind, and that was the first, I think, public showing of that game. It had been announced earlier in the week, but that was shown at the Atari booth, and they had some other stuff from their portfolio that was coming out, which was pretty exciting to see.
Yeah, definitely. And they had they had all kinds of stuff. They had the Atari 2600 Plus. You couldn't play it, but it was there. You can go and like flick the switches and things like that.
Yeah,
That's always fun. They had cartridges for Mr. Run and Jump, the 2600 version. And you could see the box for that.
super
And
cool.
yeah, so just really incredible stuff. It's incredible, for a humble lad like Mr. Run and Jump, that these not only is getting the HD treatment with the modern game that we've made, but that classic version is getting that release and getting is now physical media and
Crazy, right?
will be so widely available with the 2600 plus.
Yeah,
It'll be so much easier to get your hands on it, so much easier to play it.
right.
um is truly just incredible.
Yeah, man.
It's
It's
an opportunity a lot of games just do not get.
it's wild.
um,
I don't care what anybody says. I'm calling it a launch title for the Atari 2600 Plus, which makes the second launch title that I've been a part of. I guess I haven't. I guess I technically I was a hype man for Mr. Run and Jump 2600. I didn't do anything for it besides tell John keep it up. It looks good. Like 4 years ago or something. But yeah, launch title. I'm calling it a launch title. The Atari 2600 Plus.
Fair
Uh,
enough.
LPK 425. Welcome, man. It's good to see you again. Yeah,
Was up
it's,
in the chat. Oh, hell
that's
yeah.
yeah, that's me, Raithel. Raithel Show. You can find me on Twitter or X. It's Twitter to me. It'll always be Twitter at Raithel Show. But yeah, PAX was super cool, man. Seeing that stuff in physical is just such a blast from the past. I was talking to Kat in the office here about some of the older like retail products that we used to put out, and it was just like that's how you used to make games: is you put them in a box and you bring them to Walmart. And in 2008, 9, and 10, we just saw more and more digital content. And I remember releasing the Ben 10 product that we worked on and feeling a little bit I didn't have like real closure because the game never showed up in a box. And I was like, oh man, this is an unusual feeling to make a game and then to have it just not be anywhere, you know. And goodness, half of our almost all of our graphite lab portfolio, aside from some of the stuff we're putting out like right now, is just digital. You can still get it, most of it, that is, but there's something about being in physical that's just, excuse me, absolutely amazing. So I'm excited. November.
Is that when that's coming out?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Yeah, man.
We'll see right before that Black Friday, you know, that sweet spot in retail. We'll see that showing up.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Man. People are going to be in Target, like, you know, shoving each other to the ground over a copy of Mr. Run and Jump.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
God,
you
it's
know,
like an honor.
I don't actually have the retailer list confirmed, but I'll go in Target and I'll put Mr. Run and Jump in there, and then I'll shove somebody's head down to get it. You know, just to make a spectacle of it all. But the very first.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, to your point of like, you know, physical, like something physical like just does feel different, you know, to produce it, right? Where, you know, we do a lot of digital stuff, and, you know, the digital sea is vast and deep, and, you know, a lot of times you can just like, you know, take your thing and you just have it in a bucket, and then you're just like, and there it is, like, and then immediately it's gone, like, you know, it's just in the digital ocean, and, you know, it's just tough to have it like, you know, feel like it matters.
Yeah.
Well, but then when you have something concrete, you know, that's not going to just go away, you know, it's going to sit on someone's shelf, and, you know, they have to like pick it up and look at it every now and then. I mean, I don't know, it is just it's different, you know.
Well, and some of the digital stuff doesn't last forever. You know, we saw the Wii U eShop come down. I think the 3DS shop's been down for a while. You know, license deals go away. Like that Ben 10 game I just mentioned, you can't download it anymore because the licensing deal's done. So they just take it off the shelf, right? I mean, some of our mobile games have come down and you just can't get them anymore. But yeah. Hey, we've got a new sub. Am I seeing that right? SX Tempu subscribed with Prime. Thank you so much.
Whoa.
I don't think we have a planned like celebration for when people subscribe, but we'll think of something special. Thanks for subscribing. You know, we hope you guys enjoy this this Friday afternoon with us. You know, mostly it's just me embarrassing myself with speed runs and giving game dev story time. So, SX Tempo, if you have any questions about game dev, you hit me up or hit up John. John knows a thing or two about games too. Part of one of the things we celebrated when we were at PAX was John's 10th year in the games business. So a full decade of games, which is pretty special and important. So congrats on that milestone, John.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, 10 years, God.
John says, give them back. Give them back.
Oh, man.
How old were you when you started games, John? You started pretty early because you were, you know, fast into the industry, and I know we started working together when you were pretty young. How old were you?
So when you hired me, I was 20 years old.
Yeah, 20 years old. Just a pup. Just a leap.
20 years old.
20 years old.
And 10 years later, now, you know.
Happy.
Well, you do the math.
Happy 30, John.
Ugh. No, I don't know. 30's okay.
It's just fine, man. It's 40. You gotta watch out.
Oh yeah, right around the corner.
Yeah, right. Stuff starts falling off.
So yeah, we're here. We're just gonna kind of relax. You know, we had a crazy week. And Matt came in and he said, I just kind of want to go fast today. So I said, that's all right, man. You can go fast. There's nothing wrong with that. We got to get those time orbs if we're going to unlock all the levels of the Dark World. So
Right. Felt like I had a pretty good pace going, but then what is it? You have any gut on platinum speed for this one, John? What's the time that I'm shooting for?
I want to.
They're
They're
all
usually in
like
like pretty. Yeah, they're usually in pretty like even increments. So if it's not like one like a minute 10, it's gonna be like a minute 30 or something.
Okay. I doubt it. Well, I guess it could be a minute 10. That would still be pretty fast. Considering I'm
I forget exactly. Ugh, what are you even doing?
Yeah, I don't need your audible oofs in my ear while I'm giving it the best that I've got. Artifice subscribes with Prime. They've subscribed for 2 months, 2-month streak. Way to go. Thank you so much. All right, silver orb unlocked. That's really all I need. I could be scooting along, couldn't I?
You could be done if you want to.
But what's the does it tell me the platinum time? Can I see that anywhere? Or do I just 115 for gold. So I'm far away.
Yeah. That's for gold. Then you gotta get gold, and then it'll tell you what you need for platinum.
All right. Just better. That's what I need for
platinum. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean this level, we introduced the high jumps and long jumps. So there's so many sections where we kind of like force you to use them. Yeah. So it's all kind of like where in the other level, in 1-1 they are nice if you can get them in, or they have kind of a utility every now and then, but here it's like you gotta do them.
Right.
We also get the frogs in there, which are kind of their own monstrosity.
I feel like I'm on a gold clip right now. It's kind of going on.
You're doing good. Yeah.
Not platinum, I don't think. It's I gotta get those ashes back in my shot of platinum.
Ooh. You're doing good. What was the gold time? Was that like 115 or something?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think with games like Crash Bandicoot, they have a similar system where it's like the Sapphire Relic and the Gold Relic and then the Platinum Relic. Like, I find like if I can get like a Gold Relic on a stage, I feel pretty good about it. I rarely go for like the best of the best, platinum times or whatever, but gold usually feels pretty good to me.
Yeah.
120.
I got a 115 for sure. At this later room here, there was a bit of there's a path. I always want to kind of go to the right, but it's not the right way, I don't think. So I think I can fix that up. I played Streets of Rage 4, came out a few years ago, and got all S rank finishes on all the levels and had a great time doing it. But out of all the levels, only one of them was like painfully tough, like where I had to play it like 100 times to get it. So, yeah. Oh, I like them frogs. I do agree.
Yeah, I should subscribe to get those emotes.
You should. Yeah, John, what are you doing?
Oh man. Yeah, what did you're talking about Streets of Rage 4. What did I play? I played I always get them mixed up. Is it Final Fight? Which one is Final Fight?
Final Fight was a Super Nintendo release first. That's the one that has like Hagar, the mayor that like rips his shirt off and goes to beat people up. Streets of Rage. Streets of Rage was Sega and has Axel, and at one point has a kangaroo as a player that you can play. That's Streets of Rage.
I don't think it was that one either. I forget. I played a beat 'em up the other day. It was fun. I gotta look at which one it was.
Was not a thing I needed.
Yeah, maybe it was Final Fight.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
Which one? Final Fight or Streets of Rage?
Final Fight.
Yeah. I feel like Final Fight maybe is it's a little bit slower to me. This was kind of a comparison between Super Nintendo and Genesis at the time. It was marketing, sure, but a lot of games I felt like just paced themselves a little bit more slowly on the Super Nintendo. It was capable of more colors, or at least that was kind of how it was explained to me, but I think more frames sometimes and just had a bit more artistry. Sega just seemed to always be faster, and that might be something that Sega pressed because they wanted to be the fast console, but Final Fight just felt slower. Streets of Rage just felt a little bit snappier. And I think Final Fight had bigger sprites, so the camera almost felt like you were closer to the action. Streets of Rage was pulled out a little bit. And yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing with when I think of Genesis, I think of like big sprites, you know?
Yeah. And just some. I'm gonna start blaming this controller, man. I feel like I'm pressing buttons that aren't firing. Need to bring in my fancy controller, you know.
You ever mess with like the Xbox Elite controllers?
So when I was at E3, I got to use one, but they're like $150 or something, aren't they? Or are they more, like 300?
No, yeah, I think they're like 150. Yeah. Well, I don't know, honestly.
But
they're pricey.
You can make your own custom Elite at E3 that one year, and they had some really awesome designs, but no, I've never.
I want to say I used one once, and I forget what the context was, but I really liked how it was. I really liked the paddles on the back.
Yeah, okay.
You know, where you can like squeeze the handles on the controller and kind of do like map stuff to those. I think that's a really neat thing. But anyway, maybe that's what you need. You can map like, you like crouch onto those, and then you just like squeeze, squeeze the handles to get run and jump to crouch, and then you press the button to jump.
I was playing with the Steam controller at home, and they have paddles like under, so like your like the grip here on the inside.
Yeah.
And I grip the controller so tight out of just like panic sometimes that I'd mess up. So I don't know. Maybe I don't need paddles. But you could try it. All right, man. Oh my gosh. I can do it. I can do it.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think. What did we see at PAX? So, yeah, I mean, we kind of, we walked around the floor. I managed to play a few things. I think you mostly, stayed at the Atari booth, but did you check out like? I mean, they had like. Atari had like Lunar Lander. They had like Days of Doom there. They had Haunted Mansion. The new Haunted Mansion was there, like or Haunted House. Sorry, they can't quite afford a mansion. But did you check out any of that stuff?
Ran right into them. I watched over the shoulder. I didn't get sucked into playing a whole lot just because, I wanted to be, I was kind of just trying to stay available for checking, talking with fans and that sort of thing. But I played a few things outside of the Atari booth. Something like Big Boy Boxing or something. I forget what that was. I think like old Punch Out, right? Pixel art, very like fluid animation. That was kind of fun. And we watched over the shoulder some people play the Prince of Persia, which is a side-scrolling platformer now, going back to those roots, which is pretty sweet. So there are a few things like that stood out in my mind for sure.
Yeah, that would have been cool. I kind of wish I committed to that line and got to play Prince of Persia, because that did look really neat. But yeah, it was neat. I played some Curse of the Moon 2.
Oh, you did?
Uh,
Okay. How'd that go?
yeah. Good. Good. It seems very similar to the first one. And I mean, I got that first one. I played it, years ago. This would have been pre-COVID at least. I think we
Sure.
were talking about it in the office, but when it was coming out. I'm no expert. I can't tell you like all the nuance of what could be different. I think I played as like the same sword guy, but
Yeah.
then they do the thing where you die and you play as another character. And I want to say the other characters were different, right? Because what the purple lady in the first game was like a whip character, is that correct?
I think
Like
so. It's been a while for
um,
me too, so I'm not totally remembering all the details.
and then this time it was like some kind of staff lady. She had a big bow staff. So I mean, there was that. I mean, it mostly kind of just seemed like that game,
Yeah.
which is not a bad thing. I really like that game. And then let's see. I played a bunch of stuff I don't remember the name of. A bunch of smaller stuff. I was checking out like the PAX Rising booth. They had a bunch of stuff from like smaller teams there.
Cool.
I played man, I turned on one thing and it was like I like reset the demo or whatever, and like whatever, it was some kind of space themed pixel art thing,
Okay.
and like I restart the demo and like it's playing like its opening cinematic or whatever, and like it's doing just like this slow kind of, the camera pans down through space and you see like the stars just kind of slowly drifting by you, and it
Okay.
felt like it was doing that for like 5 minutes.
Okay.
It felt like I was standing there. I'm like, all right, let's go. I mean, this is like convention time, so it was probably more like 15 seconds or something like that. But it felt like, okay, I guess I won't play this one. I guess it just wants me to like look at these stars, and so I wound up putting that down. Hopped over to something else.
Hit a Steam button, I'm sure. Must have hit some like wacky button. Sorry, keep going. Yeah, we've I just did time trial. I want to tell this story. I think Mr. Run and Jump and Hive Jump, two of our most recent games, like you just can get in there and play them. Like there's not a whole lot of mess in the way, and I think that both of those games show really well. And for that matter, Quamp 2, you can just get in there and play it, which makes them really great like convention showcases. Versus I don't know, anything where you'd have to like set up like a lot of exposition or real long tutorials. So I was really happy with Run and Jump and Quamp as selections for showcase at PAX. Just because they're
Mhm.
so easy to get in and just play. It's like similar to that boxing game. It's like, all right, I just press these buttons. But yeah, if you get
Yeah.
up there and you wait, you got a line of 20 people and they all have to wait, 30 seconds each for the stars to show up. It's like, so
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a good booth game, and there's there's
Hmm.
everything else, right? Like
Yeah.
so it's whatever this was not a great booth game.
Yeah.
I found like a lot of stuff kind of. I mean, there was like a good variety of games out there.
Hmm.
Like I played. There was like some kind of the pitch was like it's a squad based tactics game like an XCOM or such, but they're superheroes.
Okay.
Um, and so I turned that on, and that just had like, that was another one where it's like, okay, like here's this whole, very much a demo where they very, clearly like, here's just like the first chunk of this game, and so you're just like buttoning through like, all the story stuff, and it goes on like probably longer than really you want it to
Yeah.
in a context like that. And then like that type of game, is very much like, okay, here, like read, these abilities and internalize them and then use them in this,
Yeah.
situation. and it's like, oh man, it's just kind of a lot. So you know, that's the thing with like, you know, booths is like, you know, at shows like PAX, you know, you just want you know, you just want to kind of get in and be like, okay, what is the game, and
Ooh,
you know,
look at
just
that!
kind of
Look at
blast
that, John.
through.
10 seconds off.
Ooh.
All right, found a good lane in. I didn't get gold, but I'm getting it this time around. You know, I wonder for games like that. This goes for others that are just kind of curious on the stream. Like going to PAX, you need like a good like playable demo game, but like these festivals like Strategy Fest, Platformer Fest, Wholesome Games Fest, those are great for some of those other games that I think where you got to like sit down and just kind of play for a while. And
Hmm.
they seem to have such a good impact. So like, you know, if anybody on the stream is like, you know, aspiring game dev or such, submitting work to those like online festivals, you know, seems to be a great way to build buzz for any games that you've got going on. So, pro tip that we're just learning ourselves too, even with our shared decades of experience in the biz. You know, sometimes live shows like PAX make the most sense, and sometimes these festivals make more sense. So, yeah. All right, one 115 is in the bag today, right here, John.
Hmm.
I have no doubts. I'm gonna jump clean, just a clean, solid, clean run. No additives, no preservatives,
Hmm.
except for that little random dash thing. So, come on. And over here. Come on. Come on. Oh,
Oh
come on.
boy. Oh
This,
boy.
I swear there's
Oh.
like, I don't know what's going on with my hands today, but like, there's a frame delay on my hands.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
That'd be fine. Don't you worry, John. We got this one.
Is that an Irish accent?
No. What are you talking about?
Sounded like you.
Any you
Sound like
worry.
you're putting on a little brogue. Like,
It may have been, or
don't
maybe
you
it's
worry now.
any you worry less. Yeah. See,
Oh
look at
man.
that. That was all right. See, it's this. Oh, wait. Here we go. Oh, no. See, I screwed it up. All right. So this goes over here. This here. Get over there, bud. And this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa.
See, all right. So that's the that right side thing is the way to go.
Hmm. Yeah, I think so.
So had I not screwed up royally before, we'd have been on it. This time, my decision plan is to not screw up royally. Smooth. You ever think to yourself, man, we should have just had Sinclair record all of the platinum times when going through them?
Well, like just record them like video.
Yeah, like when he was doing like runs like every single day, I should have been like, hey, record yourself, bud.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely. I mean, I think about that. Like, you know, when we were like putting this thing together, of just like, hey, like, you know, because it's something we've been kind of thinking about of like making sure like as we're developing games, we're getting like fresh perspective, and we're not just like, you know, not blinded by like our own impressions, but like, you know, making sure like, you know, Joe off the street can play run and jump and play it, you know, well. That's a nice time.
There you go. 105.
Ooh.
Oh, I would almost gotten platinum on that one.
Yeah, you're close.
All right.
Um, but yeah, it's just you know, just getting like, you know, maybe if nothing else, like our team in the habit of like, hey, QA, like if you're gonna play the game, you know, just record yourself and just, you know, give us your impressions or whatever.
Right.
Um,
Sure.
or like, you know, our design team, like, hey, play the other designers levels and then record yourself, and you know,
Yep.
we just have like a big video depository of just like, you know, hey, what I'm working on, you know, level 1 2, you know, let me see like, you know, what people do when they get to the spot, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
For sure.
um, but that is a man, video is such a pain in the butt. It takes so much space, and
Yeah,
to get like good quality, it takes so much like processing to do.
sure.
Like,
Yeah.
so I'm Graphite Lab needs to shell out the bill for some capture cards for us, and everyone gets a $300 capture card, and we can all record no problem.
Is that all they are? $300?
I don't know.
Probably.
Maybe.
I don't know, man. Could be. Creativity in the chat says Matt has become Irish for 0.2 seconds. I'll have you know that I am Irish, though a small percentage.
I thought you were French,
Man,
claiming to be Italian.
my DNA is not up for negotiation, but it is up for purchase. Anybody that wants to change my DNA, I will claim to be whatever origin you choose. No, I thought I was Italian all my life growing up, but I did one of those DNA tests, and it turns out to not be the case. But also, Moneybags Matt over here says, "Well, look, man, like
Yeah, I
I've
was
been, hey,
surprised.
hold up,
Jeez.
wait a minute. Let me first complain about my heritage, and then I'll get into the cost of capture cards and my justification. But yeah, my DNA, you do one of these DNA tests, and it's like one day it's like, hey, you're French, and I'm like, all right, that's news to me. And then I go back today, and they're like, no, you're not French anymore. We made a mistake. And I'm like, well, what is this? Like, I thought, like, the DNA tests, these things are all phony in my opinion now, because it changes every time you go in there, and they're like, well, yeah, we compared you against the people you said you're related to, and they're this, so we're saying you're that. And I'm like, well, if I told you that, I mean, come on, no, this is terrible, right? It's terrible. Now,
So what do you think you are now?
man, I don't know. We should check.
It's like, oh, actually, we figured out you're American.
Yeah,
you were
that's
born.
it. Yeah, slightly more French today. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Now, Artifice. You've heard about like the gold rush on graphics cards, where like these like 1080s go for like $3,000. Capture card sounds like it's bigger than that. So I was expecting John to be like, oh, they're like $4,000. So this is called anchoring. My brain was on the $4,000 price, right? So when you said they're $300, I'm like, oh, they must be on sale.
There you
So
go.
I got it, man. That's what I'm saying, right? So my brain had something very different. So by warped contrast, yes, it looks like a deal.
Yeah, no, the capture cards have not exploded in the way graphics cards have, but they are supremely pricey. I remember, I want to say, like when I was in like high school, you can get some kind of like capture setup for like $100, right?
Well,
and I went looking for one like recently, and yeah, they're like hundreds of bucks, and they're behind like glass at Micro Center, and you have to like get a guy to open a case for you. Yeah.
So we had to buy a separate capture system when we worked on the Nintendo Wii, because I mean, you had to funnel the Wii straight into this contraption. You couldn't just like capture your screen like you can present day. And I remember that system being pretty pricey too. Like it just, yeah, like you were saying, you couldn't just buy one at the regular Walmart. You had to go to a specialty shop like a Micro Center, or order from like a B&H Video or something like that. But we needed this to cut and capture footage for the Wii for like our trailers. So yeah, it was a real big pain. And pre-HDMI, I think it had like component video or something. Yeah, you couldn't have anything else running on your machine while it was running, and it was an ordeal.
Yeah, it says best bang for buck is Elgato HD 60s. Let's go for $140. Ooh, 108. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was fine. That was slower than my last one, but for some reason I thought I was trying to get a 110. Give it one more, and then we'll see what's after this one. It's not
Wow.
John goes, don't do that.
Did you ever
Good little intrigue.
did you ever do like when you're doing like runs like this, you can be like sometimes like I'll do, oh boy, like the run, almost like I'm like reading tarot cards or something, where I'm like, oh, this run was terrible. It's going to be a bad day, something like that. Like
Oh,
so I would play like solitaire on the train going to school every day. And if I could win a game, I'd be like, oh, it's going to be a good day. It was like a predictor of like, you know, how nice the day is going to be or whatever. Or it's going to be like, oh, I struggled in the beginning of this match, but I pulled it out at the end. That means like it's going to be a hard morning, but, evening, maybe something good will happen, I don't
oh.
know. Does your brain, are you broken in the way I am?
The short
That's
answer is
fun.
yes. I did it with shooting just like basketball free throws when I was like in junior high, and it was like, yeah, if I make this shot, then like good things are gonna happen. I'm not gonna tell you what good things I wished for as like a junior high kid, but yes, I did. And I would always like, I'd miss the shot and I'd be like, all right, it's the next one. I'd always like double down, right? It'd be like, oh, that wasn't the real one. It was this one.
Yeah, I would always think like, okay, if I, ooh, you're so close. Or no, sorry, you're looking at 105.
Right? My brain keeps saying 110, so I think I'm like doing fine when I hit the portal, but I'm 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go to we'll get another one in. Let's,
yeah.
Go to 1-3. Yeah, man, I'd throw up a shot and be like, if this goes in, like I'm gonna ace the test, and like it not, it wouldn't even hit the rim.
Dinner if I get this in.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, man, I do all that stuff.
Oh, and then if I won, a solitaire, and then I wanted to keep playing, it would overwrite. You only got to keep the last game you played. So that was always the gamble.
Okay.
So if I won, I would have to stop because it's like, oh well, I don't want to, this is my good luck game. I don't want to like undo that. But sometimes it's like you win like the first 15 minutes of an hour-long train ride, and it's like,
oh gosh,
what? So sometimes you just got to roll those dice, and sometimes you win like twice in a row, and it's like, oh man, I pushed my luck and I nailed it. I gotta stop playing right now.
Yeah, right. The fates, you took all the good luck right away. This seems like something that an artist would do, John, not a logical engineer. This seems totally like artist, folly. Where do you think this universe gambling came from?
I don't know. I don't know. It feels like something maybe I've always just kind of done.
So I was talking to somebody about probability earlier this week, and I was like, yeah, like I get that you should usually just play probabilities, like if you're gambling or whatever else, like you should just no emotions, pure objectivity, and you should only play the odds. I made this statement that I think it's because like as an artist or as like a creative person, like let me see if I can pause this because I don't want to get screwed right there. You believe in like the underdog hero overtaking, the odds. Like every like Disney movie that we've ever seen. I'm thinking about like all the sports teams movies where they take all the kids who never played on the pro teams and they somehow win against like the AAA select league. I you hear these stories and that kind of overcoming is like, it's a good story, right? An underdog tale. Now letting that like fiction warp my practical sensibilities on a roulette table is dangerous and should not happen. But I feel like, if I've got like an 80%, maybe not 80, let's say there's a 60% chance that like you're playing blackjack or something, like, oh, you're probably not going to get blackjack here. But it's like, oh, but what if you do? Then it's like, that's like the one, And and it turns out, John, that feeling is the first sign that I might have a problem on the blackjack table. But But yeah, but yeah. And that's not to say you're not a creative guy. I just, writing the code, you got to be practical, I think. Um, but plenty of your creative side shows through in good old Mr. Run and Jump. So,
Well, thank you.
so you get to be in both. You get to be in both. You get to be uh, objective and subjective at the same time.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what was I just gonna say? I forget.
Something about gambling. Something about how you toasted me 4 games in a row on Hex.
Oh yeah, that was
Clubhouse
fun.
games.
I was thinking about that maybe this morning. That game's good.
Hex is
Hex.
good, man.
Yeah.
Those of you that don't know it, Clubhouse games, right? On the Nintendo Switch. It's like,
Uh-huh.
what, 50 games in that package? Something like that. There's a lot.
51. I think.
One of them is called 4 in a Row. It's Connect 4. It is John's nemesis. John will hand you a gold trophy and sign it if you challenge him in that game. He can't take it. Equally so, the trophy goes right back after playing a game of Hex, which I'm gonna tackle. Wait, I already got Void. Looks like I already got Void Time Orb, so we're all Time Orbed up in Violet. I'll keep going.
All right.
So John will tell you guys all about Hex. He'll describe it while I tackle this speed run here.
Okay, so Hex is a game about hexagons, and it is a board. It is a grid of hexagons that kind of makes this diamond shape. And one player is red, one player is blue, and what you do is you fill in grid spaces one at a time. And so like the blue player is trying to like fill in, you're trying to like build a path from one edge of the board to the other. So like blue player will be like, okay, this, side of the diamond board, and I'm trying to build a path across, to the parallel side. And then red is trying to do the other for the other edges of the diamond. And then that's kind of the game. So, you on your turn, you get to place one hex anywhere, and you're trying to like just build this kind of path to, from one board to the other. But yeah, it's, one of these games, it's like deceptively simple. It's, it's one of these perfect, just abstract board games of just like, you're trying to like accomplish your goal and disrupt your opponent's, goal at the same time. And striking the balance between those two things, winds up just being extremely tricky. But yeah, because you wind up like, you'll like, build your path, and then like, now me as the player, I'm like trying to block your path, you're trying to like build around, I'm trying to like cut you off, and then, while doing that, I've, my master plan, I've, constructed my own path out of me blocking you going to your path, and then, that's how I win, But,
Yeah, every single time I was like, oh, I've got him this time. Like I had such a heavy run, and then I wasn't paying attention to how in blocking me, you were building the most perfect, like, connecting line. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really good.
That was one of my standout games.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those, like, a really good board game, or a really good competitive game. How about we'll abstract it even further? It's got to be like, you can't really know who's going to win until it's over. Like,
yeah.
If it's just like a blowout, the first, half of the game, then it's boring. The rest of it, you gotta keep the blood pumping. You gotta, like, I forget what else we were playing, but there was another one.
Oh, Hares and Hounds.
Oh yeah, Hares and Hounds. That was
a curious title.
Yeah, that one. I feel like that one didn't quite. We played it a lot. I was gonna say maybe it didn't quite hold up, but we played it a bunch.
Well, it's. I think a lot of those games, the good ones, are the rules are easy to pick up and play. You get them pretty quick. But this Hares and Hounds, you guys will have to Google it and like watch it. There's only like 9 spaces, and you're trying to move one hare like 3 spaces forward. It doesn't sound like a lot. You have the other person has 3 hounds to block your way. Yeah, you have to check that one out. The first time I played it, I was like, oh, that was dumb. Like, let's move on. And I was like, you know what? I want to give another go to the hares versus hounds or whatever. And then by the end, me and John are like both like contemplating deep hare hound strategy. Like, there's got to be a way, you know, to best. We're going like 30, 40 moves, you know, running out the clock.
Yeah, right. I feel like that game is probably solved, you know. I mean, how many moves could there be, right? Like, you know, you only have like those 9 spaces or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like one player is the hounds. They get 3 hounds. And you can't move backwards if you're the hounds. So you always have to like, you're trying to, and the other player is the hare, and they can move in any direction they want. But as the hounds, you're trying to, you're trying to like trap the hare so that the hare can't move anywhere, and that's how the hounds win. And then the hare wins if it can like run past the hounds. So as the hare, you're trying to like juke the hounds around a little bit, like you know, and like lure them in, and then like slip between them.
Yeah.
It's an interesting game. It's kind of fascinating.
It's got to be like most of those. It's got to be a classic game that already exists. Like, I feel like that's one that, you know, the Lords of England one time, you know, were like, oh, let's give a game of hares versus hounds, chap. You know, that kind of stuff. Gosh, I can't even get through this particular room. Like with the speed run, I can't even like just finish it. Oh. Yeah. I know I'm like. See, it's like that kind of stuff. Yeah, the very premise of a speed run is making me do stupid things that instantly causes death. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it almost just makes me worse for a second until I'm better, you know?
Huh.
Well, just because, like, yeah, you know, that's not really all that profound of a statement. It's just I'm cutting corners thinking that, like, I'm already good enough at this level to cut corners, and I'm really not. Like, I still need to like learn the level, be frank, you know.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's all good, you know. Take your time, and that's just all the more room to improve.
That's right. Yeah.
Just follow the shards. There you go. Perfect.
Follow the shards.
So, do you feel that games are like, do games come about as a reflection of society, or do you feel that society is shaped?
This is what I got to deal with
by the games people play.
John gets deep on me. Wait, what are my choices? I feel like games came around because we started a studio and we made games. That's how games get made. Games in general, the horse and hounds and all those kind of things. What are my options? Society first or games first?
The horse and hounds.
What's it called? Hounds and hares?
Yeah, something.
Well, there's a pub called the Horse and Hound. It's a real pub.
Oh, gotcha.
Sorry, go ahead. What are my options?
Yeah, I mean, do you think like you know, are games, or do games come about as a reflection of society, or is it the other way around? Is society primarily shaped by the games people play?
Oh, I don't think society's shaped by the games we play necessarily. I would have to put society first and games second then if I was getting that choice. It does sound like I'm being offered a chicken and egg scenario. Is that true?
Potentially. I mean, that's it. Yeah, kind of, right? Like, I don't know. I was listening earlier to a podcast called Game Studies Studies Buddies. Game Studies Study Buddies.
Fine.
And each episode they talk about it's very academic, you know, the academic sense of game studies. So they're not always like talking about like video games strictly, but
sure.
in fact, they rarely are. It feels like very often, like the idea of like game studies gets abstracted to include,
Yeah.
whatever the author of the book wants to, factor in. But
Yeah.
but yeah, they were I don't know, this particular book they were talking about was the author had the claim that like games are kind of these they are like these mechanistic kind of forces that kind of potentially drive people's behaviors, and that in like like video games now, being a product of like the 21st century, are a mechanism to perpetuate the capitalist regimes present within the 26th or the 21st century. So like his thesis was like, games, every individual is a part of capitalism now, and that games are built as a way in part to perpetuate the to keep people in capitalism.
I don't see that side. No. Now, depending on how many like how wide you offer that, like I do think if you get into like Nash's theory of like game theory and economics theory, where like basically everything in life is a game, like even who we choose for mates and that sort of thing.
Right.
Then yeah, I could start to see that. But if we're just talking about like Call of Duty keeps us all like slaves to capitalism, no, I don't go that far. I don't go that far.
Right.
But yeah, otherwise, like depending on how wide that net is cast, I think there's some potential truth to that. I'm also desperately trying to not die here, so I might be agreeing to something that I don't have all of my brain power available to assess.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, abstractly, it's like, does, I mean, let's, talk about like all of art, right? Like, does, where does art come from? Is art, does the culture create the art, or does the art influence the culture? I mean, it's that same kind of perpetuating.
I get that, but art itself has there's a different, oh gosh, now we're really getting into it, aren't we? Art has like different purpose than like commercialized game, right? Art isn't like almost, I'd say a majority of games now are more commercially targeted versus like art, not necessarily, until you start saying, well, music is art, and then we get into a whole rabbit hole. Yeah, it gets complicated. I can't argue that depth of theory and have any shot at speed running this level at the same time.
Yeah, it's tricky.
But Artifice saying life is a game, that's an interesting take as well. Life is game-like, depending on who you are.
I mean, or is our games lifelike? I don't know. Maybe.
You're just messing with me, John.
What do you mean?
And hitbox. You hitbox.
There you go. Cat's talking economics affect who can make art and how it spreads, which influences what art can be seen and thus what affects society.
Oh, Cat. See, the cat has time to think. I can't think right now. I'm dodging bullfrogs. I mean, that's what oh my gosh, with the freaking toenails of that thing in my face. Anybody who tunes in ever to the last 10 minutes, they're getting like the most energized, animated, ready to just spout profanities version of myself. Come on. Dude, this run's already dead. I don't know what I'm doing. Just gotta practice. Just gotta practice this room, you know what I mean? Ooh, that was kind of fun. What are you giggling about, cat? I feel like most of the time, John's giggling at my performance, and Cat's giggling at my performance. It is stereoscopic 3D giggling at my performance. This spring.
I'm over here reading Far Side comics. That's what I'm giggling at.
Far Side, man. I don't hear very many people. What are you laughing about now, Cat? Far Side is Matt becomes Pharaoh about it, are you? Yeah. Oh my gosh, 30 seconds off. Far Side's great.
Oh my
Gary
God.
Larson. What do you mean, oh my God? I was doing the best I could, John. 30 seconds off. Is that what you oh my Godded?
30 seconds. I mean, ooh.
Don't look at me, John. I'm hideous. Gary Larson, The Far Side. Bill Watterson's Calvin and Hobbes. Jim Davis, Garfield. These were the only books I'd ever pull out of a public library. I don't know. Did you ever go to the library when you were a kid?
Sure.
Yeah. Man, it would just be nonstop. Those kind of like Sunday morning comic compilation books.
I was thinking about this the other day. I remember checking out, there was like a book on dragons when I was a kid, at the library. And it was like, I don't know, but it was really nicely illustrated and I loved looking at it.
Yeah.
And I loved the dragons in there. And we gave it back and I'd be like, oh, I could just go get it again.
Right.
And I could never find it again.
Yeah.
I never could. I looked everywhere, multiple trips, couldn't find this dragon book.
Sucks. Some punk kid took it and was like, I know I'm never going to find this again. I should just keep it. I'll deal with my consequences in the afterlife. I'm stealing the dragon book. What about, okay, second little question for you. Did you ever rent games when you were a kid? Like Blockbuster? I know it's been gone for a while, but did you ever rent games from Blockbuster?
Yeah.
All right. Part 2, did you ever rent games that were old enough where the save data was on the cartridge? Like not memory chips and memory cards and that sort of thing?
No, because I would have been all discs.
Okay.
Well, I had like friends who had like Super Nintendo and stuff like that. So maybe like, maybe there would have been a situation, I might have rented like a Game Boy game like every now and then. I remember renting like Kirby Tilt and Tumble.
Oh boy, yeah, there you go.
So there might have been a rare circumstance where occasionally, but nothing really like sticks out in my memory.
So this goes for anybody else in the chat too. So Artifice and LPK, if you guys are there, I'm interested if you guys ever rented games that had save data in the cartridge, right? So this would have been Genesis, this would have been Super Nintendo, even some Nintendo games. I know that's a while back, but the story I'm telling is you'd rent a game, right? Like an RPG. I remember renting Dragon Warrior 3 several times. You'd rent the game, let's say on a Monday.
Oh man.
You take it back, right? There's only 3 save slots, so you probably know where I'm going with this. A week later, maybe you get to rent the game again. You got a little bit of birthday money or something, and you go back to the store, and you go and you get that game again, and you're just crossing your fingers all the way home. That like, oh, is my save data still there? I played, I swear to you, probably 30 hours of Dragon Warrior 3. Like I'm making some serious headway to where I was actually thinking about not bringing the game back. Like I was gonna, lie to my parents and be like, I lost it. It's gone. I'm sorry. I was like, I can't. Like, I'll find it next week. I take it back, and I'm like at the end. We'll call it like the Dragon Lord. I forget who you have to kill, but man, I go in there, and you know how you get to like name. So I put in the name Matt or whatever, and it comes back.
Please don't erase.
This son of a something deletes all 3 and puts the same name in each one and makes 0 progress. So I got like Skip, I don't know, Barry, I don't know what this clown's name was, but deliberately erased all the save data and all the slots and didn't make a bit of progress. Killed me.
It was probably like some 6-year-old something like, couldn't, doesn't know how to actually play the game, but they can hit the start button and they can, menu past, into the game, to make a save slot or whatever. It's heartbreaking.
So on that day, John, the tarot cards, they did not work out for me.
No.
I must not have made my basket the night before. God, it was so bad.
Yeah, I know, do you ever, I know people are like, oh, batteries are running out on like Game Boy cartridges or whatever. So people are like, like, oh, I got to save my Pokemon team or whatever.
Sure.
I can't imagine. You probably don't have any like century-old saves or whatever that
Uh,
you're like hanging on to.
no, so most of my like first and second gen cartridges and other games I sold to my younger cousin, like when I went to college or whatever. So this is like Final Fantasy 3. That's not true. I traded some of that stuff in. But I did sell some stuff to him. I'm just trying to think of what it was. Uh, Maybe it was some Square RPGs. I know there were a handful that I held and traded in myself, and a handful that I passed kind of his way. Um, but no, I don't have any of it anymore for those reasons. I would have either passed it down, the ladder to my cousins, or I would have like done a trade or something for like PS2 stuff. Yeah. So any of the save type stuff that I've got now, I mean, these would be on cartridges that either you and I bought together at conventions or something, but it's not like my own save data from the 80s or anything like that. Yeah. Sadly not.
Artifice brings up, I've bought used Pokemon games with save data on them. It's fun to see what people name their Pokemon and how far they got before quitting.
Yeah.
That is true. I've seen, because I'll buy a lot of used games, and I remember recently I bought like a copy of like Professor Layton for the DS, and
Good one.
and like DS cartridges have the saves on them. So I remember having to like delete someone's like 100-hour Professor Layton save. You're like, sorry, it's my copy now.
Well, like, look, you buy it, you do whatever you want with it. I just that clown. I'm gonna call him Barry for the rest of my life. Barry ruined my life on Dragon Warrior. I'm gonna finish this run, and then I gotta. Oh gosh, there's a funny story about the same line of stuff. 215, I shaved 15 seconds off, John.
Man, you're not even getting the
Nope, no silver.
Whatever. Wow.
Yeah, I've got some serious like path issues on this one that I just haven't tried to figure out. Something about save data. What were you talking about just a minute ago? What games?
Professor Layton?
Yeah, before that. It was right before that. Maybe it'll trigger.
Pokemon?
Nope.
Capitalism?
Something about save games.
Bought a bunch of save games, having to delete someone's 100-hour save.
Darn it. I don't know. It was a funny joke. I can't remember it.
Okay.
I had it in there.
Something about Barry?
No. Nope. Something about Nintendo, Artifice. I don't remember. It was going to be good. You have to tune in next week. I'll remember it. Forget. We're coming up on our hour. Kat, do we have a raid target? We don't need it right this very minute. I'm going to do one more run, but... it was a good joke, John. Good one. Very proud of myself. See if it triggers. When I get to that exact same spot in the run, I'm sure it'll trigger my memory. My brain works that way. Need those photo cues to... that one hurt. I think that's the right move to make, though. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. That seems pretty fast.
I think I'm actually getting through this one okay. There's little stutters, but man, these rooms are just so long that like, when you you're gonna, I mean, aside from that dumb action right there, oh my gosh.
That crusher, man, is like the perfect timing. Let's say you can't go low.
Yeah.
You don't want to wait for him to go up.
You really don't. But I think like when all I'm doing is, oh my gosh. All I'm doing is going for gold. I'm just like, all right, come on, dude. Oh my gracious.
Uh, oh, it's a nice sunny day
I know,
today.
man.
That's nice. I went for a run on Monday.
I thought you might
You
after talking
inspired
about
me.
it. There you go, buddy. Keep at it, man. Once things in motion stay in motion. I'm been doing that every other day since like May, and there are plenty of days where I just am like, oh, this is gonna suck. And I run slow, and I'm just like, forget whatever it takes. I just got to keep in the rhythm, you know.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, it was great. It felt really good. It felt good, and then like I was telling you, I got the PAX. I got
yeah,
some kind of nasty cold.
sorry
So
to hear it, man.
days since I've been like, I probably should. I can barely breathe out of my nose. Maybe I shouldn't push it too hard. So,
Yeah,
but I had some new shoes. I got some new running shoes.
nice.
So yeah, maybe this weekend I'll get into the swing of it again.
Yeah, man. Just little bits, you know. Just I think it's just better to keep on a rhythm, you know, like just give yourself some plenty of grace and just kind of get out there and get back in the swing, man.
Feels good. You get the blood out of your feet
Yeah.
into your head. It's good. I'll have to ask you how your weigh-in went.
Dude, I
We're
crushed
going
him.
to talk about it on stream, but
I crushed him.
did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
It
Hell
was-
yeah.
It was yeah. It's more dramatic than that. Like I can tell it in a very dramatic fashion, but yeah, I won and I was very like, hooray.
That's awesome.
So
Well
So
done.
I thank you. Yeah, so oh man, what a sad finish.
Oh.
That would have been like a 210 maybe. So it still wouldn't have been the silver, but timing couldn't be better. 6 o'clock Central.
I'm surprised like we're not even getting silver. I thought silvers were all pretty reasonable.
Well, I mean, I'm making some significant mistakes. I think one thing that we were going through this was like, all right, on a platinum run, you really shouldn't be dying and you should be fast. But for like a silver, it's like maybe a death here or there. But if you notice, I've been dying like at the end of rooms. Like it's not like the quick ones with the quick respawn. So I'm getting like to the
Right.
bottom of these rooms and then just close. So I think there is some flexibility there. It's just kind of the way that I've been moving through the rooms. I'm getting just a couple of bad rolls. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Guys, thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to go ahead and kick it over to the raid if we got one. And then we'll be back next week. We're back on our schedule now that PAX is behind us. I won't be here, but John will be going to get some challenge orbs, I think. So come on back. And thanks for supporting Graphite Lab and Mr. Run and Jump. Wish list it. Check out Quamp 2. Wish list that. And stay tuned for more news from Graphite Lab.